What's up, Neil?
Hello, Cal. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous.
Good to see you.
We have hit double digits of season 3, episode 10.
Oh my lord!
Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I know. Second episode in the new studio. I'm loving it. Green Room 2.0 is killer.
Yep, Green Room was
A
pretty
studio, a little more stripped down version, but I love where we're at. Mm-hmm. And look, someone who's been in both studios, our two-time guest now, Jason Waggoner. What's up, my man?
Here, drinking it all in, man. I'm not drinking in like last time. I gotta do a show later.
All right.
So I can't imbibe like we did.
Not like normal, right?
Oh,
I don't know.
Unfortunately, that was
not
quite
normal.
abnormal. That was a lot. Because at that point, we were stealing the beers off the table.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, we were doing. Yes. There was nothing left.
We drank all the beers in the.
By the end, we were actually drinking non-alcoholic beverages because there was nothing left in the house. And that was by the time like our raw footage and taking breaks and everything, we spent 3 hours. Just us.
Yeah.
And then Kevin Brace showed up.
Yeah.
And you stuck around for a while, and then we spent like another 2 hours with him.
That's right. I forgot. I stayed.
And then for some reason, you stuck around for a while. And then for some reason, my ex-wife thought it was a good idea to go out to dinner after all of that.
Oh, man.
And I was just a fucking bloody wreck.
She was just showing you.
But I believe that was the time where we went to like where my kids work, you know, and like we walked in, they just look at her and go, "Why the hell would you ever bring him here?"
That's what we were just talking
about.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you just leave them alone.
Yeah.
But no, shit. God, a year has gone by, and boy, what a difference a year makes, huh?
Oh, no doubt, man.
What I remember, so what I remember, you know, when you were here, we barely even like kind of met, right?
We met that day.
Yeah, we met that day, but we'd been conversing on Facebook and everything else or whatever.
Yeah, because I saw Paul Grasso.
Yes, that's right. That was right. He was season 2, episode 1. Yeah, it was Paul. And that was our connection, and then we just kind of hit it off from there. And I remember, you know, parts of your story, you know. Raising your daughter and then trying to make music and busting your ass while you're doing all of that.
Yeah.
Of course, you see parallels, and then the one thing I also remember you saying was, my social media game's pretty weak. Well, what a difference a year makes.
It still
all I
is,
see is you in LA, like, nonstop.
Well,
hang out with your daughter. All I see is your social media game going nuts.
I see
new music and everything else. So you've been pretty busy, my man.
Yeah, I don't know. I still kind of I'm doing the same things I've always done. It's just people like, you know, seeing me in Frankenmuth dancing with my kids is a little bit different than being in LA dancing with my kids. So that is the big difference, you know.
You know what I think but the difference is like you're just connecting with people.
I guess.
You know, on different levels now. It's not just the music; they see the human side of you.
I hope so.
And stuff like that. But I mean, I know I definitely see it.
Yeah, I hope
the change. It's been a nice positive change.
Jason, who does like your quick like little editing?
Everything I do.
You do.
Yeah. I do.
Cut and splice or whatever.
I do.
Yeah, that's
everything.
Like all like little dance clips. Or you do.
I do everything.
No shit. Huh?
No, I do.
Nice job, dude.
I do all of that. I do all of my my graphic design. I record all of my stuff and engineer it, and then I send it to Andy. Andy mixes it and masters it. But yeah, I do everything.
Wow.
Everything. The dancing videos with my kid, that's something she and I have done. Like she has videos of me of just being a complete goofball. Yeah. Just absolutely. And you know, so that whole thing is just, she just was like, come on, let's dance really quick, you know. Not my favorite ones, but there are two that we did. There was one at Henry Ford, and there's another one, I can't remember which one it is. Oh, it's in Frankenmuth in front of the Christmas tree. And she usually likes to do it when there's nobody around. But I'm like, oh, we're doing it anyway. Let's do this. And you could tell she's embarrassed because she's not. But that stuff we've just done all the time. She'll do those videos. generally, but then she'll post a song, I'll post a song, same video, different, maybe a slightly different edit. Hers, because she's 26, it'll get thousands of views, and mine will be like, I'm like, this is adorable. This'll do well. Womp womp. That's it. You just go,
absolutely. I know exactly how that feels.
Yeah. So you just go, all right, well. So yeah, it's so I just, that's all.
But the thing is, you don't do it for the views. You just do it because you're having fun. You put it.
Some of it is, yeah. Some of it I really, some of it I really want people to check out my music. Ultimately,
that part of it, yes.
That's ultimately that is the goal of everything. I try to utilize my music as much as I can for different things, just because that's what it's about,
right? No, absolutely.
And to go to your point about the editing and stuff, I'm poor, man. Mm-hmm. I can't afford to pay somebody. We're not 22. We don't have buddies who do that stuff,
right? No,
that don't have responsibilities. Well, yeah, so you go, shoot, man, how do I edit this video?
Right, because even if you have a buddy, there's no guarantee he can do it right now, because you need to do it now so you can get it out.
Listen,
you know what I mean?
I deal with that quite a bit. Mm-hmm. Even when Sierra, my daughter, was doing stuff for me, there's a timeline that it's not your timeline. So if I need a graphic, and Sierra did it for a while, but it was a consistently me. Like, hey, just even something small. Hey, can you change this? Right. Can you just change this a little bit? I don't like where the position of this wording is. Can we move that somewhere?
Right.
Like, so that's. So
you've learned how to fish.
It's exactly. Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
So and it's, if we would have had this technology as when I was 22, and I had, and maybe if I weren't smoking so much grass, maybe the path would have been different. I'm not saying that, I'm just saying, what an astonishing period for people who want to do that stuff.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, say what we were talking about earlier. Say. Just the Andy Griffith Show, as a television show or a band or whatever.
Right.
To get to the point where you had stuff distributed, you had to jump through you had to be really fucking good, or really jump through some hoops and all that stuff.
Or
it wasn't
really have a fucking silver spoon and know someone.
I did a commercial, and I'm in I'm in a soap opera to get, or just talking about the music scene. I did this for this long and this, and now you can just go, shoot, I'm going to make my own video.
Right.
I'm going to edit my own video.
You don't have to rely on anyone.
And you're like, it'll take me 4 hours to do this. Like for me to do my when I do the singing, that usually takes me from start to finish. That'll take me about an hour and a half to do one of those.
It's like the one where you can sit down.
Right, sit down. When you're talking about, and I look at it this way because I've been a contractor my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm
fencing, if I remember right now, yeah.
I look at the job starts as soon as I'm not doing what I want to do. As soon as I'm taking a shower to get ready to go build fences, I'm doing something I don't want to do. Because so till the point where I'm at home and I'm doing what I want to do. So I look at it a little. I'm like, okay. Like, I get it. I'm getting paid from, say, 9 to 5, whatever, but technically it's 8 to 6,
mm-hmm.
And your
time's valuable.
Yeah. So I look at it, like from the time that I grab my, and this isn't like, I'm not saying I like doing this. I don't mind this, but to grab my mic, get that set up, get the chair set up, make sure, okay, I'm like, I did
everything's work in order.
When I did the song from the beginning, it's like, to learn the song, it took me like a week to learn the song right, because it's a tough song. People are gonna shit on you if you do it poorly.
Which is stupid.
But so you're talking all that much time to go in and make a post that takes me 7-8 takes. Like, I've got tons of video of me going, fuck, shit. You know, I got more videos of that than
anything. Right?
I could probably make a whole I should make just a whole compilation of me going, fuck, shit, funny. God damn it, motherfucker, you idiot, fucking, you know, just all
just string them one after another.
Yeah. But as with anything, if you're a pitcher or if you're whatever, you know, you're you know, how many times are you throwing it and throwing it and throwing it and throwing it and throwing it, you know, until you get it right. Yeah, and hopefully people care. But again, you know, when you're talking about something that really isn't tangible, something that they can hold,
right?
You know, especially now with streaming.
Well, and that's the thing. Like nowadays, it's like almost harder to get anyone's interest because everything's so fast. There's so much of it. I can get it right now.
Yeah.
So like if you don't have something that they just grasp onto, you miss out on it. Whereas like before, life was slower. You know.
Well, we think so. We think so.
I think so. But music had more time to kind of swell. You know, like where if it didn't hit right away, it still had a chance at least.
I'm trying to think of
what. Like now, it's like if it doesn't hit right away, there's like your fucking diamond doesn't throw you out.
I was just listening to Rick Beato interview with.
It's your boy.
Yeah. Did you see the with what's the
McCready?
Huh? Yeah.
With Mike McCready.
Yeah. You know when they were talking about we put 10 out, it took a year before it got any traction.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's not. I mean, it is that way to a certain degree because, say, there's a guy I love, Charlie Crockett, you know, or
he's coming with Leon Bridges.
I know, yeah. Those are two. I love both those two.
You should go to that show, dude.
I've seen Charlie 3 times already. I saw him at Bell's.
No shit. How is that place?
It's one of the best venues I've ever been to.
I haven't been yet. I want to go. Bob Mould was just there.
Dude, it is worth it. It's worth to go. Get a fucking B&B.
Yeah. Okay.
Just and the Gibson factory, where Heritage Guitars is made, is right around the corner.
Really?
Yeah. Huh. But no, dude, I was right up front. He fell. He tripped over his monitor and fell. I got video of that, like of him. It was such a good. He is so good. So I saw him there. It was the older white NPR crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw him at the Majestic when I took Chuck Bartels, the bass player. That we went and saw him there. Complete hipster crowd, complete sold out. Both were sold out. Complete hipster crowd. Then I saw him at the Machine Shop. Completely different crowd, all sold out. He is one of the. And Leon Bridges, I love Leon. Uh-huh. I do a few of his songs. I do. And I have for a long time, but they've been around for a while now.
I know.
You know what I mean?
And that's one of those ones I've got them on my playlist. I fucking love it every time they come on. And then I saw, he's doing this thing with Charlie Crockett, and I want to say
they're from the same
are
area.
They? Yeah. I want to down in Texas.
Yeah.
And I want to say it's either Meadowbrook
Austin area.
No, for the show it's either Meadowbrook or Michigan Lottery Amphitheater out in Sterling Heights.
I think it's Meadowbrook.
And I'm like, either one would be amazing.
Yeah, I thought about going to see it.
Leon Bridges has been on my list for a while.
Yeah, I thought about going to see it. I really do.
That.
You know his song "Forgive You." You ever hear that song?
Mm-hmm.
I do that. Then I do Texas Sun. We did with Kroon, whatever. Yeah, I'm a fan. But
I'm gonna check the date on that and see if we can make that happen.
Yeah, my next show is I'm going to see Polyphia. And
I don't know that.
Polyphia and Mastodon and Coheed and Cambria.
Okay.
Is Polyphia PA or PE?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think
Polyphia,
it's PA. They're like a prog band.
Where's
I'm going to see him in Grand Rapids. I've never been there.
Mastodon and Coheed.
Yeah, I've never been there.
What venue?
Van Andel.
Oh, Van Andel. Okay, nice. I've never been to Van Andel, actually.
I don't know if I'm going to stay because it's a 2-hour drive.
I know. Have you been to Grand Rapids much or no?
Mm-mm. No, I've driven through it.
Yeah. It's fucking nice.
That's what I've heard.
Like downtown, there's a lot of stuff. It's always busy. I never really went either, but went to a couple shows in the last few months. And going to a couple more. I can't fucking wait. I'm going to see Billy Corgan. June 21st.
Why does he wear the smock?
The Moo?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's never said anything about it?
No.
It's such a... I get it, but it's such a
like,
fester-looking thing that I can't,
yes,
I
and,
can't wrap my mind around it.
He is, in some of the pictures, kind of chubby, and it doesn't fucking suit him very well.
It's a weird thing.
Yes.
I'm not mad about it.
No.
I'm just curious because it's his thing now.
Right, and it's always... And the thing is with him, too, is, like, even when I would see him in the 90s, like, every time you would see him, every single time he would have the same outfit on. Whether it was, like, the Silver Zero shirt for the one tour, but he always wore the same fucking thing every show. And the other thing with them, every single set list is identical.
Oh, really?
Every single night. So even though I'm going to go see him a couple times, it's going to be the same fucking set list.
Well,
which is whatever.
No, I'm gonna say that.
But I do like when they do change it.
I'm gonna say this, and this is just my opinion. Not even an opinion. It's probably the reasoning behind that. And I know a lot of bands that do that. Mm-hmm. If you're playing to tracks, you don't have choices. You're not the Allman Brothers. You're not. You know what I mean? You're not Fish.
Right.
You know what I mean? Your drummer, he may not even be using in-ear clicks. You know what I mean?
See,
where everything on a Smashing Pumpkins song or a Billy, there is so much sequencing and tracking. You can't.
Which I would agree with, but when you still have him and Chamberlain and Eha, which are the three core members.
But that's
you know what I mean. Like it just seems like they should be able to just fucking say, "Hey, we're gonna play this song." And just fucking.
You would have to have like 5 more people up on the stage.
Just to
you know what I mean? Just to make do something. Again, it's more about the backing tracks that they're playing to,
right?
And it's not that they can mix it up, but you're talking about they're putting on a show,
right?
In their mind, it's that you're getting this show. This is I'm speculating. But then you take into consideration.
I've always wondered.
You take into consideration the sequence lights to every song, the backing tracks to every song. Everything has to be perfect. The video, everything that goes on. It's not just let's swap this song out tonight for this song. You're gonna have 5 separate shows. And this could be I could be completely wrong.
No, I think that.
But that's the only reason. That's the only reason I could see. Because I don't like that, dude. I would rather be in a situation where, I get it, where that stuff you can do that stuff and mix it up a little bit. You know.
Well, the way I look at it is like me as a fan.
No, that's
like for Billy Corgan. He's doing this solo tour. And I'm seeing them at St. Andrews, and I'm going to the intersection in Grand Rapids 2 days apart. But it's going to be the same show.
I wouldn't go.
I'm going to do it anyway, just because.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I don't go to a lot of shows. We had this kind of. I go to I go to more now than I ever have. Yeah. I've never.
Yeah. What was the last one you went to?
Oh hell.
Do you remember?
I go see shows all the time. I just went and saw. Who was it? It was sold out. Oh, Testament.
Oh, nice.
I went and saw Testament at the Machine Shop.
We need to make a playlist. I need to know who the fuck you're listening to,
bro.
Oh, dude. You don't have your Forever 5 this time. You're a two-timer, bro.
That was...
We're going to get you a jacket at number 5, don't we?
I'll tell you.
Windbreaker.
What's it called? A members only.
Well, that'd be perfect. I was going to say actually a full tracksuit like our moms used to wear back in the day.
With like a turquoise embroidery t-shirt. I have a pine knob jacket like that. No, I go to the Machine Shop and see shows all the time, but the band like bands like Lalome, it's LALOM, LA space Los Angeles League of Musicians. It's like surf rock, but everything they do from a aesthetic, the music is great, but the aesthetic is like. That's how I felt about Charlie Crockett. I've been listening to Charlie Crockett for a long time. You know, the dude put out 15 albums in like 6 years or something like that. You know what I mean? And it's like, but he does everything like he understands. It's you're entertaining people.
Right.
A lot of musicians and bands. And artists in general they forget, and me included. I'm not like you're entertaining people.
Right.
You know, you're giving them something of value, whatever that is. And instead of being like they're here to see me, or it's more about me. What I'm doing is important, but like, they're putting on the videos that they put out and stuff like that aesthetically are so like they're perfect. The colors, everything matches the music, everything, the branding, and Lalome does that so well. Kroonbin, I can't remember how to pronounce her name. Same thing, just everything about what they do aesthetically. There's a brand. It's obvious what the brand is.
I think that goes like I was showing you those videos, Neil, of Royal Otis earlier from the Majestic, right? The Majestic Theater, which is like 1,000 people, just literally a stage and a bar for the most part. And Royal Otis, which younger band out of Australia. Like, they had this whole stage set up, lights, all this background stuff, which I'd never seen at the Majestic before. But it's like they were on this tour, and then they blew up before they kind of get bigger, But they had all this, and it was like you said, the aesthetics of it. They had everything going on behind them in addition but the music's good, too. And that's the thing.
It has
to all happen together. If you have one and not the other...
First and
you
foremost,
can have the music without this.
You first and foremost,
and that
you
was
have
where
to have the
I wanted
song.
to go back with like the Pumpkins, right? Because I think you kind of hit it. It's like it's more of a performance. And Billy Corgan's the kind of guy that he wants to have it a certain way, a performance, and blah blah blah.
Yeah,
And then I equate. Then I look at the exact like a Pearl Jam.
Yeah,
where they're going to have 80 to 90 songs within their catalog that they could play any given.
Maybe
night.
a cover. You know what I mean?
Any given night, they have covers, but they don't have all the other shit going on.
But that's what they were talking about. Even Rick Beato, when he was saying, he's like, I don't want to see the same show every night. I want to see, and to me, that's the value. Even doing covers. If I'm doing a Friday and a Saturday somewhere, I will try. I will try to.
You actually go.
To do as many different songs, because I'm like, for me, I would hate it. But then again, I wouldn't go watch me. So I don't. You know what I mean?
I would. I told you this last time.
Yeah,
I love the acoustic. I love your voice.
I'm just.
But no, I get you.
I'm just saying. Me being me, I'd see it all the time. My daughter doesn't care. She's seen it, sees it all the time.
Right. Or like you said, you're going and doing a cover thing, right? So people are just happy they're there. They love the live music.
Sometimes
but it's in the background.
Sometimes
sometimes people get pissed off, and those people are just miserable in their life.
I had the place I'm playing tonight. It's like it's the last time I was there. It was like, hey, we're gonna put you over here in this corner because then because people don't want to really. I watch it. They come in and they go like they look at the table, they look at me, and then they go to the waiter. Can we sit over there?
Yeah, it's too close.
And you go.
Or whatever.
You're fine with that. You go, it is what it is. But that they don't care. They don't.
Yeah, those are the people that don't.
Which is fine.
But they may like pottery. They may be what they get their rocks off on.
Right.
You know what I mean? They may love sports. You know what I mean? They may like.
That's funny, Jason.
So you just go, okay. My parents didn't listen to music.
Right.
Yeah, because we were talking about that earlier. Like, Cal made the comment. Everybody loves music, and then that's what you said. No, not everyone does. Everybody loves music, but I mean,
but I will stand on
that. But but your retraction to that was great because maybe they like fucking pottery,
right?
That's what I'm saying. But they, I'm sure they like something,
right?
They're
just fired up. They went in for dinner and have to listen to this guy sing.
I know dudes who love to work.
Uh-huh.
I know guys who being in the trades who their life, no matter what it is, they're working. Mm-hmm. They get home and then they're working. They're doing something in their house. They're doing
welding. They're doing this.
They're doing.
They got a shop.
Their yard. Like my dad came home from work and we worked in the yard every day. We had a decent sized yard, and go pick up sticks. Go pick up sticks. Go pick up all the sticks. That was That was the gig. Almost every day.
I was pulling weeds every day.
But then my dad went and played softball 5 nights a week. Mm-hmm. Right. That was his thing.
Mm-hmm. My dad was a bowler.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's their thing. A song came on. Maybe they liked it. Maybe they didn't. They don't care. It doesn't.
My parents were the same way.
Sure.
Music was not like an important part of their,
No.
you know, which was weird because for me and
I
my
think
brother,
it's
we
weird.
absolutely love fucking music.
Yeah,
But like now, I mean, I'll do anything and music's on in the background.
I don't.
You know?
I either have music on all the time, or I listen to Sirius XM channel 148, which is old time radio.
Okay.
And it's all like Jack Benny, Johnny
Okay.
Dollar,
Right.
just all talk. I love it. It's the
it's
most.
top,
It's the
yeah.
craziest.
Right.
It's crazy. There is like some of the like they have horror programs, science fiction. When they'll be like, there's this one. It's called Dimension X, and they'll say like in the distant future. 1998, and you go, oh my god, like you're like, oh god, these people are all dead. You know, they're all dead, but the science fiction is almost always now.
Right.
It's like in the year 2025, you know, we're landing on Mars, and you're like, oh shit, man.
We are.
Yes.
Not with humans on board.
No,
yet,
not
we've
yet.
landed
Not
there.
yet. That's what I'm saying. But
Crazy.
it's crazy, and you hear all these old Fred Flintstone doing voices. You know, it's all these the people Mel Blanc
yeah, or
is
Blanc,
all
yeah.
over the place,
Uh-huh.
man. Like doing voices. Floyd the Barber from Andy Griffith. He's on all sorts of shows. It's crazy. So I like that, but. That's if I'm not listening to a podcast. Rick Beato,
Right.
almost anything he puts out, I'll listen to.
I like watching this video.
Yeah. Well,
great.
you turned me on to Rick Beato.
Yeah.
But I watched a little bit of that one with McCready.
Mm-hmm.
And it
I
was
just
funny
finished it
because,
yesterday.
he was talking to him, and his question was, if right before the show someone said you had to play Stone Gossard's guitar,
Yeah,
parts
yeah,
and you
yeah.
had to do yours because
said
you
he
guys
couldn't do it.
And he's like, no.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I just never even did the live part because that was his. You know, and like,
You know, and as doing what I do, like when I posted the video that got the most views by, I mean, light years
Right.
above anything I've ever done, and there weren't a lot of insults, but there were a couple. You know, and it's like, you're playing it wrong, you're playing it too fast, you're doing this, you know, and you go, so, you know. I sometimes get bummed out about that, or I say, okay, yeah, this isn't, you know, how come I don't know this, or I can't play this better, and I think about like that.
Right.
What that specifically stood out to me in that, because it is a reminder to go, oh, you can't play it all,
Right.
or maybe that's not your thing, and that's the thing. There are those guys like that, you know, they may not be technically the best. I know dudes who can play anything. You know, there's my buddy Paulo Sinski up in Flint, man. One of the most phenomenal guitar players I've ever heard in my life. Just like the amount of stuff he can play with the right tone and the right everything. And I'm just like, holy shit, man. Like it's like he's in a band called the John Fett Quartet. Best cover band I've ever seen in my life. And because they're real. They're not. I've seen some really good cover bands that are really polished. Mm-hmm. These guys, like, they're not polished. But they sound perfect.
right.
Like vocally, not. You know, they do their thing, but they do they do a version of like "Hot for Teacher" that you're just like, holy crap, you know. But
Which I saw Blues Traveler do last October.
I bet it was awesome.
It was sweet. And
Yeah.
actually,
Did he play all the guitar parts on the harmonica?
well, yes, but the guy on keys actually sang it,
Oh wow.
and he was from Michigan.
Oh,
it was
no
like
kidding.
a pretty cool connection, but. It was one of those ones I'd never expected to hear "Hot for Teacher" that night, you know. It's
No,
like, I love a fucking great cover.
But that is what made the Grateful Dead or Fish
Yeah.
an attractive show for everybody, because you really never knew what was going to happen in what order. And that's where when they go, oh, fuck, they just did that.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to hear that with certain bands.
Right.
There's certain bands, especially I think if you get into like metal bands and stuff like that, it's going to be the same thing. You're not going to hear a lot of, you know, variation. You know, living close to the machine shop, which have you been?
Yeah.
Never been.
You've been.
Yeah. I've never been. So
you got it. Like that's like where I saw Charlie Crockett. That's crazy. I know they have like killer shows. Oh, dude, it's the best value going. It is. You're never gonna pay a ton for a ticket.
Just last weekend, I went to the L Club.
See, I haven't been there. Lil Loam was there when I got back. The night I flew back from L.A., Lil Loam was there, and I was bummed I couldn't go. I would have went right from the airport.
No idea what to expect, right? Never been there. It's right in Mexican town, in downtown. So I'm driving, I got in Detroit, yep. I got in the Googler, I'm on Werner Highway, and it's like, all right, it's like a half mile down, and like, there's no like people waving at a park or anything, and I ended up right across from the venue. I just found a spot.
That's the machine shop.
It's like
you just park and walk in.
You just park, walk in, and it was such a cool show. It's like 400 capacity. Everyone.
It's a machine shop.
Everyone is there for the same reason, just singing along. It was, and I'm not a singer, but you know what? I don't mind it. Because you know what? Those people that are singing along and all that shit, they're having a fucking blast. And if that's how they want to have a blast, I'm okay with it. And if you have a problem with it, go stand somewhere else away from them. I'm serious, though.
Well, but that's...
people enjoy shows different ways.
But that's where...
It's not always going to align with how you want to enjoy a show.
The machine shop is different in the sense that they are either country or metal.
Yeah.
Or heavy rock.
It's pretty straightforward what you get.
You know... that what
right,
and I think L Club is the same way. I think L Club is just more.
So L Club is, I found eccentric. Well, they are 100% like independent, so they're not tied to any.
It's how the machine shop.
Is that how it is too?
That's that's why the machine shop.
It's hard to find like aftermarket tickets and shit to those.
That's
shows
why
sometimes.
The machine shop, you can go buy printed tickets from the printer across the street, or from a store across the street that all they sell are like heavy metal T-shirts. It's in an empty mall and it's like one of the only stores.
Oh,
it's
really?
it's all metal T-shirts.
No, I do have to get there. But they have so many great shows.
You know what? Regardless, fine. Their shows are a little bit more different. Their country shows are going to tend to be more like outlaw country.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes.
Who would you consider outlaw country?
I'm so over it.
I'm just wondering.
I don't think any of them.
I'm just wondering because I need more people for the playlist.
I just don't think. So right now, to me, Sturgill came out a long time ago.
Right. He's been around forever. Now people seem to just really fucking love him.
Sturgill, I saw him at the Majestic, and my buddy he did lighting and stuff, and he got me all this, like a signed poster, all sorts of stuff, and my dog ate it. But anyway, outlaw country, I think it's everybody's outlaw country now.
Right.
It's they're jumping out. It's to me the exact same thing. It's Warrant to Motley Crue or Van Halen. It's Creed to Pearl Jam. It's whatever, late 90s new metal
it was a thing that got huge, and now it's almost like
put on a couple
out, and then people have glommed on when it's too late. It's just like it's like Just Baked cupcake place. Everyone loved it, and then they started opening up, and everyone's like, "Why do we have so many of this shit?"
I think that's a pretty good analogy to a certain degree. But yeah, I just think that it's about you're being sold something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be sold anything, and I think that's so I don't want to sell that. It's really hard for me to be like, even say, hey, check out my song. And even when I do, like when I was doing countdowns and stuff for songs, I but that was about a suspense thing, not so much, hey, pre-save my album. Hey, are you feeling bad today? Well, this song's for you. I don't like that. When I see that, I go, and I've done it. Now, I'm not saying I've done it, but I don't like doing it, and I don't like it when people do that to me or say, hey, check this out, or this is the best thing, or this, and I don't.
Dude, I'm totally the same way.
I don't like that. I want to find something.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's the trick right now is finding a balance between putting yourself out there so somebody can find you and
being a whore.
Yeah, and being a whore. Yeah,
absolutely.
Being an absolute. Whore.
I think we talked about that
Probably.
the first time you were on. Like, who would have been thinking back in the '60s? And,
oh yeah.
Who would have been the first social media whore?
Oh, Beatles.
And it was totally. We said the Beatles back then. It was totally.
No. Beatles. They.
Probably a close second would be Kiss because James fucking Simmons is actually. He's that one old ass fucking bastard that is kept up with all the technology just so he could capitalize on everything about himself.
Yeah, they all did it. The Stones did it a little bit differently, but the Stones, we don't have the frame of reference to understand that the Stones were heavy metal. You know what I mean?
Right.
We don't have the frame of reference to understand that the Beatles were hard rock to a certain degree.
No, absolutely.
We don't think about it that way. Yeah, we don't think about it.
And anything about the Beatles, really, their lifespan was 7 years.
Short, really short.
I say 64 to 71, but really.
Well, fucking A. John Denver put out movies. You know what I mean? John Denver was on the Muppets. John Denver was on every TV show. We didn't have social media, and that's what I'm saying. You had to prove yourself. But you had to go to those places. Yeah. You had to be in LA. You had to be.
You had to do those things. Why the fuck am I on here with Kermit the Frog? Why? Because you fucking have to, bro. If you want to try to make it.
Yeah, but at some point that was Detroit for a hot minute. For a hot minute.
Detroit's always been a hotbed here or there, but in pockets. Never consistent.
To a degree, yeah. But you at one point you had, at different points you have, 3 or 4 huge acts that take off. At the same time, you had White Stripes, you had Kid Rock, and you had...
back in the day, right? You had
Eminem.
Eminem, all at the exact same time.
Oh, that was right. And that was... Right, you're right. It's pockets. It's like the same.
And then there's nobody now.
Motown was huge.
Well, Greta Van Fleet, but they're friends.
And then it went away, right. But that went away. And then, you just mentioned, you had this pocket of these guys.
Motown is a different animal, though.
But you have all these different things that have happened.
Motown moved to L.A.
You had all that shit. You had MC5 and all that. So you had different things, but it's just the Detroit never was able to maintain that full on all the way through.
At that given point,
great.
though...
they're great. They're this.
But at that given point, though, you did everything in L.A. You still went to LA. You did. That's where all the businesses were, offices were. That's where you did everything. So you still had to. You took what you were doing here and moved it out there.
And Chicago, and those were the ones that you just were happy you were in the middle that everyone stopped at.
Hopefully,
because you weren't on either coast, right?
Yeah.
Think about it. Back in the day on a tour, Detroit was number one. You're going to be in Detroit, but nowadays you don't even have to fucking go to Detroit anymore.
It was either Cobo or Pine Knob.
Yeah,
those were the only two. But you think that live albums were recorded at Cobo, Pine Knob. Well, live albums. There's no such thing as a live album. That I just watched. I did a version just recently of Lines on My Face by Peter Frampton.
Oh yeah,
and but I've been watching this version of it, which I really like, but it's live at Pine Knob.
Oh, really?
And I just like that version of it. But he was another guy. He's like, I play something different every night. He's like, he's like, I can't. And that was a Rick Beato interview. He's like, I do something different every night. I don't want to do the same thing. I can't. I don't like things enough to... and I don't like even doing covers when people say, hey, we'll learn this song. Can you learn this song? I've learned my share of new tunes that were popular for 3 weeks, and I never played again because everybody, and me included, I didn't even want to learn it.
Right.
I'm sick of it.
You learned it because you thought everyone loved it, and then all of a sudden it's fucking gone.
And it's gone. And
that's what I hate about music now.
It's always been that way.
It's been that way, but...
You were lucky.
You know what? I will say it's been that way, but for me it wasn't. And now it's harder for me to be the old way.
I tell you
the way that music comes out. Because like you said, pre-save my album. Why? No one needs to pre-save your album.
No,
it just comes out when it comes out.
And it's pre-saving an album does literally nothing.
Right.
It literally at this.
All it does is drum up excitement, right?
It doesn't even.
Tries to.
There's so many people I follow who are I worked with a couple of people at one point, and the guy was, he's like, pre-saving does nothing. It literally does. You look at social media, and as somebody who follows music, your feed may be filled with music. Mine's filled with like farmers and monkeys and.
Mine's all over the board.
Yeah, but
a lot of dog hunters.
Yeah, but you're like, how many times pre-save my new album, pre-save my new album, pre-save my pre-save. What the fuck?
What does that even mean?
Yeah, like for what? For what? It doesn't. I can just go on and hit request and stream it. It doesn't trigger the algorithm. It does nothing. Not in this day and age, because a lot of people pay for that shit.
Right.
It really just comes down to, at this point, to what we were talking earlier about the say record companies. Record companies, this is me. This is how I look at it. Record companies were banks that had a lot of really good connections. If they liked you, they would lend you money. And then they would say, here's all the connections that you need to be super famous.
Now it's up to you.
It's up to you. I heard an interview with Dave Matthews where, hey, why did you get signed? They liked my business plan. You know what I mean? I was doing well, and they liked my business plan. So record companies would say, here's $1 million. You'll give me $2 million before you ever get paid for anything. So, but they would get your album sales, and they would get that money. If your album sold well, they got their money back, and that was everything.
And then if you start doing well, they're going to pump more money into the market.
100%.
Everything that then turns around into more.
But at that time, they would say, "Here's $1 million, and here comes your producer, and this is who you're going to work with." You know what I mean? And you're like, okay. This is the studio you're going to be at, and this is the distribution company that we're going to line you up with, and this and this and this, and you have to pay for all of these services. Rick Beato has done a few of those where he's talked to the guys that he talked about equipment, just equipment. It's like, oh, okay. You're going to use my studio guy. You're going to use my producer. There's a producer manager fee. There's a producer fee. And you know what he's going to do? He's going to bring in all his amps and all of his equipment. And you've got to rent that from him, too. And they were just... it was money laundering.
The owner of it is paying that guy a fraction, so he's making half of that money just to his bottom line, while this guy's getting paid this amount, and it just keeps going down further.
But that's why now, if you listen to... are you aware of clubs taking merch money?
I've heard of that. I couldn't believe that.
But that's because everybody's trying to get their cut,
right?
Merch
should never be touched.
But record companies will take your merch too now, because they don't have. You used to.
They don't have the way to kind of get it.
If you were getting, because there was a correlation between ad money and a radio station. How much money is this radio station? The songs were just commercials for commercials.
Right.
They wanted you to stick around long enough to listen to their ad.
Making off of this song.
So
that's put a dollar on it.
They can put a solid dollar value on a song. If a song flopped, they weren't playing it. So now there isn't that. Now it's, you have 1 million streams. Here's $25. Or maybe, or, and not just that. Now, when you distribute your music now, they want the rights to fucking train their AI on your song, so they can replace you with AI-generated music. That's a really big deal right now in the music community. And so, to go back to the point about concerts, that's where it's going to be important for concert and musicians to connect with their audience in a very big way. It can't be, we're here, you're here anymore. Right. It has to be, hey, that
kind of we're all in this together type of thing.
The video that
if you want the art to survive, you almost have to be in it.
You have to connect. You have to connect at this point.
Performing live, and you have to have the people 100%. There, and you're 100% there in a live.
But you can do it regionally now, and
make
if you can set yourself up regionally where you can play enough solid places where you have dedicated people who you're sharing an experience with, you can make good money doing it. But that's really what it boils down to. It's just a different landscape right now. And again, to go back to the social media thing, you got, now you can learn it. I say if you're 20,
Absolutely.
if you're 20, what else you got to do?
Well, not only fuck if you're 50, bro. I just turned 50, and you know what? Well, what I was gonna say was like, I've always said like Gen X, right? I think we're all Gen X. Is anyone can say whatever they want, but Gen X is literally the most pivotal time in the history of the world.
We think so. We think so.
But think about it. I mean, we grew up when. I mean, just think about a grocery store. Every single thing was keyed in to the point where now we're scanning it. Computers were never even a thing when we first were born. And now they're just totally...
Yeah, but
the way that music was made versus now, and the between... Which I do get, because let's talk Industrial Revolution. Talk about going from horses to cars and all. I get all that.
yeah.
But I'm thinking of... We basically went from like horses to like fucking spaceships.
Yeah,
in like 30 years.
To a degree.
Yeah,
I mean,
so that's why
can you imagine?
I mean, of course, everyone will always say, "Well, my generation was the best," but
no, it's not about the best. I mean,
we don't. Gen Xers don't usually say that shit though, because we just always just fucking dealt with it.
I don't know, man. You know, my daughter is never gonna have your kids. They have no comprehension what life is like without the internet.
I'm 100%.
Not anything.
And if you don't have that, then you have no right to even try to walk in my shoes.
But
because we know how painful it was.
But at the same time, you can imagine being around when they found out that washing your fucking hands was a good idea. You know what I mean? Or that you didn't have to. You weren't going to starve over the winter. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, you know what? I can go, oh, wait a minute. I can go do this and make enough money to go to the grocery store and buy, not grocery store, just the local store and buy this for my family.
I've thought about all this.
Penicillin, you know, you just
But just going from being like completely clueless to like understanding, like, oh, wow, if I just cook my food, I won't get sick. Versus, I've never seen a computer versus what the shit we can do nowadays. And you went from like being 10 to 50 now, and like we are the parents that had no idea how to record on the VCR.
Yeah, but
don't tell me you feel like that almost every fucking day.
Could you imagine sitting there though? You're sitting there, and all of a sudden there's a box in your house that you can watch with a TV. And the radio, dude, that's what I'm saying. When I listen to that vintage radio, dude,
you're right.
You really get a different perspective because they play all the old commercials and they talk about things like, you know, save your lard. Say, you know, all these different things. Meat rationing during World War II and stuff like that. So when you listen to
that, it totally takes you back to stuff you never even would have thought.
Because it's the same. It's that vintage quality, and you're listening to it. Or when they're like, women... Mom, when husband gets home from work, what are you making him for dinner? You know, like, consider Jell-O as a dessert. You know what I mean? And you go, oh my God, like the shit that they saw, just air conditioning for fuck's sake. Like, so I mean, you know, I understand. I just think most generations we're so focused on what we went through that we don't take the time to understand that the shit that they're going through. I don't know what it's like to have access to anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like once like we had to go to the library. Now we could go to the library and go check out the newest encyclopedias, but fucking 40 years before they couldn't. You know?
No, absolutely.
And for us, if we think about say 1990 for us, 40 years ago was 1950. What a different world, man. Yeah. 40 years ago now was not, in 1985 there were computers.
You can try, Jason, but you're not changing my mind. No, you're totally right.
Good point.
No, but every generation obviously does all that shit.
It's all good. It's all
good. It is.
I'm so excited that you came back to join us.
I want to do it again.
Absolutely.
It's fun.
No, it is.
No,
it's fun as fuck. It's fun to catch up. I know we haven't even really checked out a show of yours yet, just because.
That's okay.
Shit's been busy.
That's okay,
Absolutely.
dude. What I do is boring, man.
No, but so same here. But
I love what guys.
But the thing is, I love what you're doing. I love
fucking guy is amazing. Jason Waggoner, come on.
No,
And
well, you know, to really quick. So I have an album coming out,
Okay.
a physical vinyl album.
Oh,
What we were
shit.
talking about,
Okay.
though, it's because I'm 53 and I'm considering just burning the boats and moving to LA. Like that's and just
Do
saying,
it.
Just
you know what I
being
mean,
done.
and just
Yeah.
and saying, okay, I didn't do it when I was 18 because I was afraid.
right.
100%. So, but the physical album is
But
gonna
now you know that you actually could do it.
maybe.
You know what I
don't
mean?
know.
So
I
like,
don't know.
like, fuck it, maybe I should do it.
Should and could are two different
Yeah.
things,
Right?
you know.
No,
but
absolutely.
Got it.
but you know,
Well, you got our support. no matter
the
what.
album's going to be called 53 Echoes because all of the choices and all the things for 53 years have been bouncing off all the walls and now they're coming back. And,
That's
you know, it's
awesome.
like, so that's the name of it. But it's going to be, that's what we're, you know, it's everything. You know, it's where we are because of all the shit we've done.
100%.
And now okay, so what do you do now that can change? Can I change the trajectory at this point?
Dude, totally. And you're never told to do that shit. And that's always been a kind of a common theme that you've had, I've had, and us
And you
collectively.
Oh, you
And-
can.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You can totally do whatever the fuck
You better
want.
love it, though.
Yeah.
Right. If you love
do whatever
it,
the
you
fuck
believe
you
in what
want.
you're doing, you have support and everything else. Even if you don't necessarily have the
You
support.
may not have the support.
But it's always good to have it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know,
Great.
and it's good
Great.
to have it,
Doesn't
especially when
matter.
people are like, okay, I see how passionate you are about this. I 100% support you.
Yeah.
And you know what? Sometimes you lack that.
Oh,
just,
yeah.
just knowing that you have that, whether it's through a daughter or friend or anyone,
Yeah.
it means a lot.
Pretty soon you.
Sometimes it helps you keep going. Like, even like today, I'm like, I don't know if I want to record today. Yeah, but you go
Here
through
we
that shit
are.
all the time. You know what I
Dude,
mean?
you don't even know.
Because that's something that keeps you going, and then when you do it, you're like, how could I ever think of not?
Dude,
recording
I have
today?
signed up for to do gigs, go out and do gigs, and I wake up and have a panic attack that I
Yes.
have to leave my fucking house.
Yes.
And
No
but then I'm
shit.
like, you know, and it's like I signed up for this because I wanted to do it.
Right.
Like, and now I'm like,
But that,
Right.
it's
That
so
has to be
uncomfortable
like-
in the
and
house.
like you said, that has to make you get going. Like,
Well,
there must be some. Why am
you know
I
what I
panicking?
found is you
because I
actually
want to go do it.
No,
I don't
you're
have a
right.
choice.
And sometimes you just have
no,
to actually actively try to change your mindset.
No, you do.
And like you wake up, because I've been there. Like, fuck, this is the last thing I want to do. This one, I got to do this, this, and this, and then you're like, you know what? Fuck it. But I choose to do this. I'm gonna
Yeah.
meet. I'm gonna hang out with
Yeah.
Jason again.
I
You know,
choose
blah blah blah.
this.
No, that's it. That's I agree. It just I will say this. I do have a choice, but it's music to me has always been an impulse.
Mhm.
There's like I have a guitar in every room of my house. I don't there's no choice. Like I don't go.
Oh, okay.
I
It's
just
part of
I'm
you.
like
Yeah.
Right. It's part
like
of it.
Yeah,
early
there you go.
TikTok, I've got a video of me with I made of my guitar chasing me around the house, going, "You're not done."
What do you think of TikTok? Like,
I think it's awesome. I think it's
saw
a
you-
game
you-
changer.
yeah,
But
you had like 200,000 views on
Yeah,
TikTok
but
for one video or something.
it's a game change. It's a game changer for it's changed, like, you know, it's changed the way people consume media.
Right.
Big
That's
time.
one that I'm not on. And people are like,
Oh, it's the
you'd
best.
be great on TikTok. And I'm like,
It's not.
First of all,
it's a
motherfucker,
different.
I'm great on everything.
Yes, you
It's
are.
a different. When I started on TikTok, you
Uh-huh.
could literally watch people sleep all night.
Yeah, it was.
They would just
it's
put
like
the
Wild
camera on,
fucking West,
and
pretty
you would
much.
just
Right.
see people sleeping. It was crazy. The stuff you would see was legitimately crazy. And you're like, holy shit. And now, but you could be a band on there and if you had decent production, you were going to, Teddy Swims, you were going to be big.
Right.
You were going to be big.
Is that what he blew up on?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Huh.
you don't even know how many people that are big.
Right.
That's where they blew up on. TikTok is I think the largest music discovery platform aside from Spotify for
Really?
bands and stuff. Oh my
Huh.
god, dude!
Like I
You see,
said, I don't know shit
you know,
about
like
it.
say somebody like Sierra Farrell. Where are you going to see her on video all the time? Facebook isn't a discovery platform.
Right.
Instagram
No.
isn't a discovery
No.
platform. YouTube is not a discovery platform. You know, like not in the way that TikTok is. And
Right.
all of them changed their business because TikTok was eating their lunch.
Well, yeah,
That's why they wanted to get rid of it.
Instagram started their whole thing. And
That's it, the reels and everything.
The reels,
everything. They changed from this to this.
Let's not forget that all of that shit, though, where did it actually start? Vine.
Oh yeah,
remember Vine?
I didn't. I never had a Vine.
Videos? I never did either.
But even here, like
they were so like ahead of their time that they had videos, and it was what limited.
They like 9 seconds or something.
6 or 9.
I don't remember. I was
or whatever.
69.
But that's why even here, it's like you have to be able to format your stuff this way. You can't.
I'm 100%.
You can't. You have to be this way.
100%.
And because if you're not, you can't. Like you got to edit this into
to
this.
Be a pain in the ass, right.
You know what I mean? That's there needs to be.
This is like the only thing that I'm not vertical in. And I've even had people like when I post videos like, "Oh, you're one of those vertical guys."
Yeah, they do horizontal. Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? I'm not. My job's not to bring you to the fucking show, bro.
Yeah.
My job's to just play this song. And, sometimes the video is some fat bastard standing in front of me, and sometimes don't. Sometimes they're fucking great.
That's the worst, man.
But you know what the beauty of it is the sound's always the same.
Yeah.
And that's the point of it, is expose you to the music, not bring you to the fucking show.
Yeah.
But
I gotta get out of here.
I know you do, bro.
I gotta.
I will say that.
Put your hand on the can, just pop the top. So what's your name, Daddy?
Thank you for joining us again.
Nah, appreciate it.
Couldn't be happier to have you back here, especially on our first day of recording in the new studio.
I was excited about that.
Yeah. And dude, just fucking loving life. And I know you got a show tonight, so kick ass tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna softly blow the doors off that place.
Fuck yeah, you're going to.
don't even try to
have at least like 3 or 4 people are like, man, I love this guy.
No, that's always great because then I'm like in front of one of those fake green walls. They get some kind of pink neon sign up there. And so what happens is you'll be playing, and a group of girls will come up in their cowboy hats to want to take a picture with the sign, and you're just like, good lord, just kill me now. Just kill me now. And then then I break into something because I'm horrible. I'm like, this is a request by me. This is Tool sober.
Awesome.
So anyway,
that's awesome.
Well, I appreciate you having me on.
No, absolutely. Jason. Thank you. Make sure you check out Jason on all the socials.
Jason Waggoner
playing
music.
Around all over the fucking place. And thank you for listening to Two Dudes and Killer Tunes. What up, Neil?
Fucking heck, Al.
Sure.
You did it again.
All right.